You know, I've been here for a week. It's gotten colder over the last days. And I've maintained my raw vegan lifestyle. In London, it was actually very easy. There's a bunch of raw vegan restaurants, but I don't eat that way on a daily basis. I eat much more simply. So in the morning, I start out with fresh fruit. I believe that the morning is the time where we're just cleansing, and we really need to have the most watery fruit. And so even in the winter, I'll pick what's most watery. A lot of times in the winter, I will have grapefruit. And there are foods that are more warming for the winter, such as cauliflower and root vegetables like carrots and rutabagas. I have a delicious pate in my recipe book with carrot, rutabaga, raw tahini, lemon, and herbs. And it's just delicious, and it's warming. So you want to bring in some of these types of warming foods. Certainly cauliflower. I make a cauliflower Spanish rice.
Sorry, would you use hot water or warm water rather than having cold?
You know, if you're making a raw soup, and there's some really delicious ways to make raw soups with green leafy vegetables, and I bulk up on the greens in the colder weather. So like in the summer, I eat, you know, I still eat fruit in the winter time, and bananas are a staple all year round. But in the winter, I eat even more leafy greens, even more. And that really helps me as well. But certainly pecan is a nut that's very warming. And so I will do a pate or a dressing with pecans and vegetables. And so probably, you know, I don't eat much nuts and seeds in the warm season. But in the winter, I will eat more nuts and seeds. But I don't recommend eating more nuts and seeds than you could hold in your hand, because they are a more high-fat food. So whatever I'm putting nuts and seeds in, I will also add a lot of veggies to it. So I will do it like that. But for me, I will eat the fruit in the morning. This is a typical day for me. A lot of fruit in the morning, as much as I want. In the summer, I love my melons. I will eat a lot of watermelon or a lot of cantaloupe or honeydew. And then later on, and then, you know, in the winter time, I might have something more filling. My kids love a cereal with a couple of bananas ripe and mashed very well, and put a little bit of tahini in. It's just a really delicious taste with the tahini, and mash that in, and then take an apple and chop it into really small pieces and mix it in with the banana and tahini. And that apple gives it the crunch that you would have in a cereal. That's how I got rid of all the processed packaged cereals that are loaded with those acrylamides that I talked about. We call it BAT, banana, apple, and tahini. So that was BAT cereal. I have a YouTube video. If you go to my YouTube channel, Super Healthy Children on YouTube, you can see a lot of my recipes on there. And I also have some kids preparing some of my recipes, my kids and other kids, and BAT cereal is on there as well. But so I would have a green smoothie later on. And one of my favorite green smoothies is my pina colada smoothie. And I prepare that whenever I go out and I do food demos. I go to a lot of universities and prepare the pina colada green smoothie, which is pineapple, banana, that's it. Pineapple, banana, spinach, and water. And it's very simple. And then later on, that green smoothie holds me, and I make my green smoothies with different greens and different fruits every day. And then later on, I might have a fruit snack of whatever fruit I might want. When mangoes are in season, I love mangoes. I love papaya. Papaya also is a warming fruit, and you do have really some nice papayas available here in London, and in Manchester as well, I'm sure. And then later on in the day, and I try to have at least a 4-hour break between my last meal and going to sleep, because I want to be able to digest fully before I go to sleep. So my last meal will be my big salad. For some people it works differently, you know, and there's days where I don't do it exactly like this. And yesterday I ate all fruit. I didn't even have any leafy greens yesterday. I just ate fruit. I had a whole fruit day. And, you know, I have done days of just fasting. Like, I don't eat on airplanes. So on my way over, I just, you know, had a bottle of water and I just drank some water and that was it. And it was, you know, the trip altogether was like 11 hours and I did not starve. I was fine. So you can do just fine on raw food, or, you know, even if you don't have something available to you where you are, you can skip a meal and you'll eat more at your next meal. And you'll find by coming to more fruits and vegetables that you'll find such a wonderful array of raw plant foods, and you'll just, has anybody ever heard of Rollinia? Wow. Most people don't raise their hand. So Rollinia, and the first time I had it was last March. I brought 17 people with me to Costa Rica to my Love Raw Food and Yoga retreat, and they had loads of Rollinia right there on the farm. And you open it, it tastes like lemon meringue pie. Absolutely fantastic. So you'll find that there's all these fruits that you've never heard of in your life before.
How'd you spell that?
Rollinia. Yeah, it's also called Biddy Bop, and I don't remember how to spell that. Any other questions?
You briefly talked about getting vitamin D in the winter, but for those of us who can't travel, what would you recommend doing?
Yeah. There's a couple of different things you can do.
Excuse me, so we can repeat the question.
I'll repeat the question about getting vitamin D here in the winter time if you can't travel to a sunny place. So if that's the case, then you could go to a low pressure tanning bed in a tanning salon, low pressure for 5 minutes a couple of times a week. And you would be getting your vitamin D that way, just by going a couple of times a week for 5 minutes. Now, some people don't really feel like doing that, so then you would have to do a vitamin D supplement. And there are a couple of vegan supplements. One of them is called VitaShine. Then there are a couple that are vegetarian but not vegan. One comes from the lanolin, from sheep's wool. It's a vitamin D3 that's on this website called Nutridyne. But I have heard that the VitaShine one, which is vegan, comes from lichen. That is effective. So that would be the other way. Or you can just get a lot of sun in the warmer season and then get tested during the winter and see if it carries over. For some people, I never had a vitamin D deficiency, and I don't supplement. I do go to a warm place now in the winter, though, whereas I didn't many years ago. So I would have your vitamin D checked. Let's see.
Have you tried the vitamin D lamps? There is a special lamp that produces vitamin D. Have you tried it?
I do have a full spectrum lamp, which is supposed to create some of that. And I don't know if that's helped me or not, but that's another alternative. Thank you. There are lamps that you can use. I know that Hippocrates Health Institute, they're in West Palm Beach, Florida. It's a big raw vegan health institute. They sell those lamps there.
Because I heard that if you face mushrooms, fresh or dried, put the gills up for a few minutes, it absorbs vitamin D. So when you eat that, you've got vitamin D.
Mushrooms as well. Shiitake mushrooms, I heard, have a good amount of vitamin D in them, so you can incorporate that, and they're nice and filling, so you can even put those. I had some mushrooms in my salad the other day, and they felt very filling. So in the winter time when it's cold and you want satisfying food. There was a question back there.
Yeah, thanks. My question's around, because you said that you eat a lot of fruit, and some vegan nutritionists say because of the release of sugar, and then there's this debate around acidity versus alkalinity.
Yes.
What's your view on that?
Okay. That's a frequent question about the fruit and eating an abundance of fruit. Are you getting too much sugar? Is it going to spike your blood? And if you listen to Dr. Michael Greger, he's quite well known in the vegan movement. He's a medical doctor. He has a wonderful video on this topic. And it's all about the fiber in fruit. So when the fruit digests, the fiber keeps it from spiking the blood sugars. So it doesn't. And in fact, the glycemic load of bananas is like right in the middle. It's like 52. So it's not a high glycemic load as people would expect. But if you're going to have fruit juice, that's different. So I don't recommend juicing fruit. When I have a juice, it's a green juice, and it might have a little bit of apple in it, but I eat the fruit with the fiber. And so that's what I believe is the best. And I think that fruit is wonderful, and I've seen people stop fruit and then really not be that successful. I believe that we need the vitamins, the glucose for energy, the calories in fruit without all the fat. So if you want to be low fat and still get all the calories that you need, you certainly need to have some fruit.
Karen, what do you think about coconut oil? Because I heard different opinions
Yes.
about taking a supplement, like 1 teaspoon a day.
Right.
Would you recommend it or not?
Right. Also an excellent question about coconut oil. And we get a lot of what we need in our food. We don't need to be having saturated fats. So I'm not a proponent of any kind of oil. However, I do believe that coconut oil is better than other oils because it's more stable, especially if you are cooking with a little bit of oil. It's more stable in heat. It doesn't go rancid. So it depends on your path and where you're coming from. Thank you so much. I want to love the jewelry.